If you have a tractor, you need a grapple. Let me show you why. I'll show you how to hook it up, how to store it, and what all it'll do. First of all, I found the best way to store it is to open it up about halfway and just lay it on its tines. That gives you a good opportunity to get up under it with that quick hitch. I put the quick hitch on my loader about 2 years ago. Best thing I've ever done for my tractor. If you want to know how to do that, look up in the top right corner right about now, and that's the video showing how to do it. Just get up under it, pick it up, tilt it back, lock the levers into place, which locks the grapple into place like that. And now, since my tractor does not have front hydraulics, I have to use a long hose that goes all the way back to the back of the tractor, reaching the rear hydraulics. But it allows me to use this grapple without a third function, an expensive third function. So it's just a matter of snaking the hose all the way back to the back. And when I bought the hose, I measured it, but I wanted to make sure I didn't get too short, so I bought about 3 feet too much, and I have to wrap it around that roll bar to take the slack away from it. So I just do that, and that's worked out fine for me. Here are the rear hydraulics. I keep them covered, plugged with rubber plugs, just to keep them clean. You'll notice they are color coded. I painted one of the fittings orange. I also painted one of the hoses orange. And there's a reason for that. The orange hose needs to go in the orange fitting. If not, your control stick will work backwards. It won't hurt anything, but it will be backwards. On a Kubota, all you do is push in, give it a good hard push, and they both go in, snap into place, and you're ready to go. This is the stick that works the rear hydraulics. When you pull back on it, it opens up and turns off automatically. When you push forward on the stick, it closes, and then it also kicks out automatically. You'll see right here. And it works just fine. No need for a third function. Because my fittings are on the back of the tractor, I have to be careful that I don't pinch them with the 3-point when I raise it right there. So I make sure it's up and out of the way, and then I do an extra precaution. It is out of the way, but I do an extra precaution in that I put a cable tie on it just to make sure it doesn't slip down, fall down during operation. Keep it up and out of the way. So it's hooked up in the rack, it rolls around the roll bar, and then it runs the entire length of the tractor up to the front. Here's one of my rub points. You don't want your hoses rubbing. Those hoses are about $300. You don't want them to get a rub, a hole in them. So I cable tie mine up there on that rub point and make sure it doesn't move. And then the place in the back, if that hose fell down and hit one of those knobs on the tractor, it could grab it and really do some damage, pull your hose out and such. So I tied up out of the way with enough, making it tight enough that it doesn't, there's no way it's going to fall down and hit that tire. Just an extra precaution. Up at the front of the tractor now, I want to make sure, and when I tie it off, that I have enough slack right there, that little loop, to where I have enough, and when I raise it up and kick it back, tilt it back, it's not pulling on that. You also want to make sure it's not so long that it drags the ground down there. My hoses are covered with a sleeve. That is important because there are places that it'll rub. That is one of them. one of the rub points. I always make sure the sleeve is pulled down on that. And this being the first rub point I showed you, I've got a piece of leather tied on that just to make sure, because that's if it's going to rub, that'd be the biggest place for it to rub. So here's some of the things that this grapple will do. It can rake real well. It's a good way to rake up spent hay like I'm doing, put it in a compost pile. Also for preparing seed beds. Pushing, it does even a better job at pushing things. And it just will slide along the ground if you've got it tipped back all the way without really gouging the ground, and will push a big load. But here's where it shines, and that's clearing land, picking up trees to take them to a burn pile, or to take them up to a place where you're going to cut them up for firewood. And you can even leave them in there while you're cutting the firewood ends, while you're bucking it off. Driving up and putting it in the burn pile, in my case, you want to make sure that you've got enough weight on the back to be ballast enough for the load that you carry on the front. My grapple weighs about 850 pounds, just the grapple. So that's something to take in consideration. I don't have enough weight on the back of mine right now with just that box blade. Here's another thing it'll do, and that's I've got an apple tree here that's diseased, hasn't put out any apples in years, and it's diseased, and I'm afraid it's going to spread that disease to other trees. So we're going to go ahead and pull it up and replace it with another tree, probably a persimmon. You'll see right there that the back wheel came off the ground because I don't have enough weight on the back. So I rock it back and forth, breaking it loose from the soil, as well as snapping some of the roots. And back wheel's off the ground again right here. Not a good feeling, but again, my fault for not having my brush hog back there. Not enough weight. Rock it back and forth another time and snap those roots off. Pick it up, shake it off. Shake that soil off. Spent a lot of years building that soil up. I don't want it to go in the burn pile. I want it to stay right where it is. Here's some older footage when I was clearing my land, showing the kind of load this grapple will carry, and the tractor. And again, I've got the box blade back there, which is not enough ballast. I kind of get into trouble with this load and drop some of it and carry just a little bit less of it up toward the burn pile. Be careful, it will pick up a lot. Make sure your tractor will handle it. If you're thinking about a grapple, I would highly suggest that you get one. This one was about $2,000, so they're not cheap. The Quick Connect was about another $1,000, but I tell you what, it's refreshing to use one.